There's a kind of heaviness we carry in silence, a longing, a memory, a what if, still sitting in your heart like a quiet burden, not loud enough to paralyze you, but present enough to pause you. It lingers, especially at night. In those moments when no one is watching, and you silently ask Allah, when will it be my turn? But here's the truth. Before what you've been praying for enters your life, something else has to leave. That lingering pain, that unspoken grief, that emotional residue from past disappointments that you've never truly released. Because how can your heart welcome what's new if it's still chained to what's no longer serving your soul? Let go, not out of weakness, but out of wisdom. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean pretending something never mattered. It means trusting that if Allah allowed it to leave, it was never meant to stay. It served its purpose. It taught you something. Maybe it broke you. But even that brokenness was written. Because sometimes Allah has to let your heart crack open so He can fill it with something better. So breathe. Release it. Not for them. Not for closure. But for your own healing. You weren't created to live in emotional limbo. You were created to live with purpose. And Allah's plan for you is still unfolding, but you need space in your heart for that plan to land. This is the moment you stop waiting and start preparing. Many of us make the mistake of waiting passively for a miracle, instead of preparing actively for it. We ask for a righteous spouse, yet we haven't yet begun the journey of becoming righteous ourselves. We want a marriage that is filled with peace, but we haven't cultivated peace within ourselves. And this is where the shift must happen. This is not about desperation. It's not about needing someone to complete you. It's about devotion to the purpose behind that person. Because marriage in Islam is not just companionship. It is a trust, amanah, a responsibility, and a spiritual journey. It is something that can either bring you closer to Allah or slowly distance you from Him. So when you ask Allah for a spouse, you're not just asking for someone to laugh with, live with, and grow old with. You're asking for someone who will help you protect your iman, raise your future children with values rooted in deen, and walk beside you, not just in this life, but into Jannah. Are you ready for that? Before you can say yes to someone else, you must say yes to your own healing, your own growth, your own commitment to Allah. Start by checking your niyyah, intention. Ask yourself, am I seeking marriage just to escape loneliness or to build a life that reflects the tranquility of Islam? Am I trying to fill a void or am I trying to fulfill a purpose? Am I ready to give love for the sake of Allah, not just receive it? Because love in Islam isn't measured by butterflies in the stomach. It's measured by barakah in your time together. It's measured by how much you both help each other grow, spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. It's not about who gives you attention, but who reminds you of your akhirah when your heart gets distracted by the dunya. Marriage is not a goal. It's a means. Our society has glorified marriage as the ultimate destination. But in Islam, it's a means, a bridge, not to status, not to completion, but to Jannah. That's why the Prophet said, marriage is part of my sunnah, and whoever does not follow my sunnah has nothing to do with me. Sunan Ibn Majah. It's not just a lifestyle, it's a form of worship, one that involves patience, forgiveness, sacrifice, and immense emotional maturity. You don't enter marriage to complete half your deen with an incomplete understanding of yourself. You enter when you're ready to commit to building, not just receiving. And sometimes, the delay in your marriage is not a punishment. It's a form of divine preparation. Allah is not withholding. He's refining. You think Allah hasn't heard your silent du'as, the ones you make when everyone else is asleep? He has. You think He doesn't see your heart, the way it aches when you see people announcing engagements, weddings, pregnancies, and anniversaries? He does. But Allah doesn't just answer based on your timeline. He answers based on your transformation. Maybe what you've been asking for requires you to elevate. Maybe you've been praying for someone strong, but you're still healing from being weak. Maybe you've been asking for someone emotionally safe, but you haven't made peace with your own past yet. Allah is not just preparing your spouse, He's preparing you. Perhaps you hate a thing, and it is good for you. And perhaps you love a thing, and it is bad for you. And Allah knows, while you know not. Surah Al-Baqarah 2:2-16. Your delays are not denials. They're divine alignments. Sometimes the person you're meant to be with isn't ready yet, either. Maybe they're still trapped in a phase of their life where they wouldn't even recognize the value of your soul. Maybe they're still praying for direction. Maybe they're learning how to be the kind of person you're praying for. And until you both reach the level of readiness that your shared destiny requires, Allah will keep you apart. Not as a punishment, but as a mercy, because what's written for you will not arrive in pieces. It will arrive whole, at the perfect time, in the perfect way, with the perfect peace. Become the answer to your own dua. Here's a secret many overlook. When you start becoming the kind of person you're praying to meet, that person starts walking toward you too. This is not just a concept, it's a divine principle. Good women are for good men, and good men are for good women. Surah An-Nur 24:26. So, if you're praying for someone kind, become more compassionate. If you're asking for someone, practicing, become more devoted. If you want someone emotionally mature, begin healing your own emotional wounds. This is not about perfection. It's about preparation, because the version of you who meets your spouse should not be the same version who was lost, confused, and still tied to the past. Start now. How to prepare your heart for what's coming. Fix your salah. Your connection to Allah is your foundation. If you want to attract someone spiritually grounded, become grounded in your own prayers. Clean your heart. Forgive who hurt you. Let go of bitterness. Don't carry emotional baggage into your next chapter. It will only weigh down what? Allah is trying to elevate. Heal your wounds. It's okay to cry, it's okay to grieve, but it's not okay to build walls so high that no love can reach you. Healing is not a sign of weakness. It's a step toward readiness. Rebuild your self-respect. You are not broken. You are not behind. And you are not forgotten. Stand tall. Honor your worth. Because the way you treat yourself sets the standard for how someone else will treat you. Trust in Allah's timing. He is Al-Hakim, the most wise. He sees the full picture. You see only a pixel. What He's preparing for you may not make sense now, but one day you'll look back and thank Him for every delay, every detour, and every no. When it finally comes, you will know it won't feel like chaos. It won't leave you confused. It won't play games with your mind. It will be clear, peaceful, grounded, guided by barakah. Because what's written for you by Allah won't feel like punishment. It will feel like mercy. It will speak to your soul in a way no one else ever did. And it will remind you that Allah never forgot you, and He found you lost and guided you. Surah Ad-Duha 93:7. Your next chapter is already written, so stop begging for signs. You are the sign. Stop chasing what's not yours. What's yours is being preserved. Stop doubting your worth. Your soul is known in the heavens before it is recognized on earth. All that's left is for your heart to be ready. So today, just take the first step, and Allah will do the rest. Allah will do the rest.